Hi, third grade. So you have a lot to do this week, but this week should be the last week that you need to work on this project. So you're going to need to make sure you made all those little V cuts around the edges of your colored paper. Then we're going to choose your background paper. The black paper goes in between them, so you'll have a big square of a colored sheet, then the zigzags around the edge, then the black paper, then the zigzags around the edges of the colored paper. You also need to start drawing your hearts and cutting them out. So a lot of you already glued your colored paper to the black paper, and that's great. But we're gonna need to glue that onto the big square, and then we're gonna need to add the hearts that you drew in your layouts. Once you finish with that, if there's time, you can use white paint, but I think we're gonna go ahead and use white oil pastel. We'll see how much time we have because you really need it to be finished today. So let's find out how you're gonna get started. All right, so I have my piece that I already have finished cutting out, and my first step, if you haven't glued it onto your black background yet, is to glue all the way around the edges. Let me show you the easiest way to do that. Put a zigzag of glue across the middle and then go around the edge. Then you're gonna take your finger over the newspaper and you're going to push outward when you smooth it. So you're gonna be smoothing it out, not going back and forth, but just going over the direction outward. That way you don't kick up back part of these little cutouts. Okay, then you're gonna turn your paper and do that along this side. Just do it quickly so your glue doesn't dry. Carefully pick it up. Ooh, and your area is gonna get really gluey, so just be careful. Oops. And then that should be it. Oh, I put it on the wrong side of my paper because the pencil is on this side. That's where my glue should have gone. So I already made a mistake. Okay, so now, even though I made a mistake, that's okay. I'm gonna make sure my pencil lines, you can see, are on the back, and I'm gluing this down to the front, and I'm going to erase the pencil marks that I accidentally have showing afterward. I'm gonna try to center it as best I can. You may need to turn it to get the best centering. Mine's probably messed up because it's upside down now, but you get the picture. I think I'm just gonna trim this one little piece that's hanging off. Okay. So now, be careful about it sticking to your newspaper. If you need to move your newspaper, you can. So now I've got this part ready. I need to glue it onto my backing square. This is a new paper that you should be getting today. Your name will go on the back. You're gluing on the front. Okay, so for this, you don't have to do the same thing that I just showed you because you don't have those little delicate edges. All you need to do is just do a quick thin line around the edge, a couple zigzags, maybe go into these little corners, but don't put any blobs because the blobs will make the paper wrinkle and it will not look good. Trust me. So do it really quickly so that it's just thin little lines. Okay? If you have a blob, you need to smooth it out. I'm gonna smooth out actually. Try doing it on the newspaper. Just these little areas so that I've got a nice sticky edge. Now I'm gonna put my nice clean paper over here and lay it down. Don't press it down, hold it up, and then that way you can see where you want it to go before you glue it. So I think mine looks good like this. I'm gonna press it down across the middle, across the top, and then I'm gonna go and push out any air bubbles to each corner. Now your paper, if it starts to dry, is gonna start curling up. That's okay because I will put it in a stack to press them down once they're dry.
And then this is what I'm gonna do about my pencil. If you have any, because something happened with yours like this, gotta be careful that it doesn't undo the glue, but you can always go back over and, erase it. And I feel like I used pen here or something, because this isn't coming off. Also be careful if you have newspaper with glue on it, it can get stuck to the backing paper and pull it up. So be very careful. Okay, so now that you have everything glued for your background, you're going to take the hearts that you drew and cut out. If you haven't done that yet, that is the next step. And you're gonna lay them out to see how they'll look on your paper. You may wanna switch some things, so this is the time to get your placement right. Once you have your placement the way you want it to look, that's when you will start to glue them down. So do each one at a time. Once these are glued down, you will want to outline them with Sharpie. Another thing that you may want to do is to draw those little outlines that use the white paint at the top of each heart. So I'm going to first go ahead and outline each of the hearts with Sharpie, starting with the ones on top. Actually, be careful if you're using Sharpie that there's no extra glue on the outside, because it will mess up your marker. Alright, now that I have all my hearts outlined, I can add my little shine areas. So I'm going to put some paint in a little tray for myself, get my smallest brush, and I'm going to do a little shine. The shine needs to be all in one space. So don't do the shine on both sides, because that's not how the shine will work. It has to just be on one side. Same in each of the hearts. Okay? The next thing was